Hey, YouTube vinyl community, Beatles fans, random people on the internet, my name is Giggens, and we are here today to talk about the Beatles' 1977 release, Love Songs. That's right, we're just going to go over all of these things. Hang in there, there's a lot of them. So, on October 21st, 1977, this was released in America, and it came out like a month later in the UK, which is weird. It peaked at number 24 in America, and I think it hit number 7 in the UK, memory serves me correctly. So, this was a collection devised by Capitol to put together their love songs. Ah, look at that! Which features great love songs like For No One and She's Leaving Home. Huh. It's a interesting set. Norwegian Wood? That's out of fair. Really scraping the bottom of the Beatles barrel here, guys. So anyway, this came out in the late 70s and was kind of the last time Capitol put their effort into a double LP set of collections of their tracks, realizing that there's tracks on here that probably shouldn't have been on here, and they realized that it didn't sell the way they wanted it to. They had very high expectations for it, and it didn't sell. Original copies of this thing had like a faux leather kind of feel with like a gold-plated leaf sort of thing, with like a booklet with the lyrics in it and like written in calligraphy, and this really nice set. I mean, packaging-wise, yeah, it's pretty nice. Fun fact about the packaging, the front cover and the amazing inside cover, these are some of the best pictures of the Beatles ever. This isn't the original cover, or original picture. This has been altered. The original version of this picture, Mr. Richard Starkey over here, is where Paul is, and he's as prominent as Paul is in this picture. And this was done, I think, to reflect popularity in the late 70s and to help with sales. So at the, in the mid to late 70s, Paul had Wings. I mean, he was huge. Like Wings with the Speed of Sound had just come out. I think London Town was on its way. So, Paul was a big seller. George, they weren't promoting him that well. Ringo, same thing. And John was home. So, I think they put his picture just as big to be like, remember John? So, yeah, I've always found that a little kind of lame that they had to alter the picture to help his sales. I think it would have been just fine with Ringo on the, Ringo right there. What's the problem? This album does have a couple of firsts. It's the first time, I think, yes it is, in This Boy, we're in the true stereo. That's kind of cool. There was a smoothed down version, as they call it, of the cover, which I think this is. It came out in the 80s, around 86. Because this isn't that leather feeling cover. This is just smooth, standard record cover. Does not have the booklet either, which I know in the mid-80s they stopped making. So, but it does have like the parchment style inner sleeve. It just says the name of the songs and that again. And then on the inner sleeve, on the record itself, you got the cover again. So, I do like the packaging. It's a little drab to be called Love Songs. I guess they're trying to make some sort of like, I don't know, sophisticated looking, packaging or something. But instead of cheesing it up with a bunch of hearts or something, I don't know. So yeah, interesting set. The one thing I don't like so much about this album, while yeah, the songs on here are great. That's just a gimme. But the sequencing is bizarre. Some of them work really well. Early Beatles mixed with late Beatles. There is one on here, like Long and Winding Road going into This Boy, actually kind of works. But I think it would have worked better sequentially if they had started from the beginning and worked their way up to the end. And I know a lot of their sets are like that, but their growth and development over the years proves that they became better musicians and better songwriters as they went along. And I think that development works, and I think it could have worked well as, quote-unquote, a love story, like how a love story starts off young and innocent and becomes something else along the way. And, you get to know the people better, or the person better in your relationship. And, in the band, it's the relationship. You get to know the people in the band better, and you grow with them, and you go on tour, and you write songs, and you live life, and your music reflects that. And I think that growth and development would have worked really well in chronological order on this album. But horses for courses. So in 1988, apparently there's a version of this with a UPC in the background on the back cover, and that's called SC3. That's the coding for that particular version, but none apparently seem to exist, which I find fascinating. And there was an experimental clear vinyl version in 1977, which are like beyond rare. Apparently, it went to like, I think it may have been promotional, or it may have been just super limited. So it's extremely hard to find a clear vinyl copy of this thing. This was on cassette and 8-track NLP. It was on cassette until 1992 on a clear shell cassette, which again blows my mind. I never saw this as a kid on tape, so kind of cool. There was a planned single for this thing, which was going to be You're Going to Lose That Girl on the B-side and Girl on the A-side. Sleeves were printed up, like picture sleeves were printed up, and then they canceled it. But, thanks to the powers that be, there are copies that exist. It's fake, obviously, and it was printed on really cool yellow vinyl. So, I mean, they did the detail, like, crazy well. Apparently bootleggers got a copy of the stamper and just went to town. So I'm not even sure if that's supposed to be a thing. But anyways. Yeah, this thing, beyond the chronological order and beyond the questionable tracks, like I wrote down She's Leaving Home. In my life, that's pushing it. I can see that kind of. For No One, that's not really a love song. That's kind of like, things are rocky right now. Like, what's going to happen? And Norwegian Wood. That's about an affair. So, I mean, that's kind of a bizarre track. But a handful of other tracks could have been in place of those songs. Don't Let Me Down. It's like one of the best love songs of all time. And, like, it's an amazing song. Thank You Girl. Great. From Me to You. Anytime at all. Like, the list goes on. You can do Another Girl, which is kind of funny. Yeah, so this could have been way more like, I'll be back. If you break my heart, I'll go, but I'll be back again. That's pushing it too. So yeah, I think they could have easily made this a single disc album and had it been great. Someone online, I forget where I read it, said it could have been even called Words of Love. Because that's on here. I think even Here, There, and Everywhere would have been a cool name for it. It's Only Love. That would have been a great name for it. So, I'm not sure who put this together or who organized the whole thing, but it's not a terrible set. That's the thing with these collections. The songs themselves are great, I mean, this was released in response to the rock and roll music album, where you had your rock and roll music and then you have your ballads. So, none of the songs on these albums mix. These are on here, those are on there. But, yeah, Tracklist, it opens with Yesterday, which is kind of like, I mean, even that's a song about heartbreak, isn't it? Yeah. Even though she had to go, I couldn't say, I said something wrong. Now I'm like, yeah, what the hell? Like, who put this together? It could have been better. In the words of Scott Schreiner from Weezer, it's good, could have been gooder. So, just a couple fascinating facts about this album. Overall, I think it's fun to have in the collection. Not essential by any means, but if this is your introduction to the Beatles, like if this was like the first thing you heard, that would be interesting to hear. So for any of you watching, was this your first Beatles album? That'd be kind of cool to learn about. But I think that's all I have to say about this. I probably would have added a couple songs, taken off a few songs, and I think they could have put out this 45. I think that would have been pretty cool, because Girl is an awesome song. That's probably one of my favorite Beatles songs on this album. So yeah, Beatles, I'm getting rambly here. Beatles, love songs. This has been Album Reviews with me, Giggens. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for your comments. And let me know what you think of this thing, and let's talk about some Beatles compilations. Thanks, guys. See you in the next video.